Get a little light up in here. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? I'm sorry for the blinding lighting. My lighting's acting weird. I don't know why. So welcome to the final Q&A of September, and today's a theme Q&A, guys. And the theme is, as you can see behind me, we're all dedicated to the 1994 classic cartoon series, Gargoyles. And I thought it'd be cool to have it playing in behind me. It's a DVD set. They have put, the Gargoyles. This was the complete DVD, first season. They got the second season on DVD as well. Not Blu-ray yet. It's just all on DVD. So basically, guys, what we're here to do is, pretty much talk about Gargoyles. Keep the questions quoted to Gargoyles. I'm gonna go into details about my favorite episodes, my favorite characters outside of maybe Goliath. What did I think about the comic series? Do I feel that the show? How did I feel about the ending of the series? Also, in terms of how did I feel about how do I feel about the rumors of a live action series and things like that? So I'm gonna give my thoughts pretty much overall, guys, and I'm just looking forward to hearing what you guys think as well of the series. Excuse me, as well about the series, but definitely just have a lot of fun with you guys for the final Q&A of the season. I might throw on an episode for you guys so y'all can kind of get a little glimpse of an episode in the back. I may do that. I'm not sure, but you're just hearing the loading screen. You probably can't see it because it's so bright, so you can't really see it. In terms of that, and like I said before, I apologize for the lighting. Like the lighting keeps going in and out. I don't know why. But you guys can see me. That's the main ordeal. You guys can see me. So let's see what's going on in the chat. Pretty much we have Travis and Travis and Matt so far in the chat. So let's begin. The year's 1994, guys. Well, for me personally, I'll speak on my account. The year actually was late 1993 when I started hearing words of this new Disney show coming out, or just new show called Gargoyles. Now, being that I live in New York, and when you go into the city, you see a lot of gargoyles all over the buildings. You look and you can see them. They're all over the building. So the concept of the gargoyles was just really interesting. I'm like, okay, what is it? Where's this concept going to be? And more details of it. And then finally, back in that time, Disney had a weekly programming called the Disney Afternoon. I'm sure everybody remembers that. If you don't, I'm just showing my age. But back then it was a show, and Gargoyles was always the last show to come on. It came up here in New York. It came on 4:30. That was the last show before the 5 o'clock news would come on. And I remember the first episode I watched. It looked like it was back in the Viking times, and you seen the Vikings attack this castle and everything like that. And at that point, the Vikings are attacking this castle, and bam, it gets nighttime all of a sudden, and the stone gargoyles start coming to life. And I was just like, at that time, 94, I was 12 years old. Yeah, I was about 12 years old when the show came out. So seeing that, and then they come to life, and I remember the Viking leader Hakon tried to slice Goliath. We didn't know his name at that time, and he caught the sword, but you could see the blood, and I was like, whoa, they're showing blood on an American cartoon. And all of a sudden he the Gargoyles all start coming to life, and they deal with the Vikings. Whether we got to see the many of the main cast, like Broadway and the trio, as they would call Broadway, Brooklyn, and Lexington. We got to see Hudson. We got to see Bronx, and then we got to see Damona, who came out of the shadows, and she looked. It was really cool. I love the animation for the first, the pilot episodes was really good, and then when you heard Goliath speak for the first time, Keith David's voice came out, and it was just like so perfect for Keith David to voice coming out of Goliath, and I loved it. And most of the people, we saw that the princess was like really against the Gargoyles, like she had like some unbidden hatred for them, like she didn't care for them. The leader of the guards invited the Gargoyles to a feast, and she was like, "I don't want them here. Get them out of here." So you started to see guys like there was some people that liked the Gargoyles, and there was some people that didn't, and it was really upsetting at times. It had an X-Men vibe to it, like they're hated, they're defending, but they're hated, and Gargoyles were like that. And then of course, the Vikings attacked again, but this time they attacked in the midday when the Gargoyles were they were in a stone slumber, and while Goliath and Hudson went out looking for the rest of the uh, the Vikings, and unfortunately they don't make it back to the castle in time, and the Viking leaders and the Viking leader Hakon and his Vikings kill the Gargoyles. Now, as we all know, when they're stone, they're vulnerable, so they can be destroyed. Yeah, so pretty much they were killed. And when Goliath comes back, it's that famous scene where he is thinking that Damona, as he called his angel of the night, is amongst them, and he gives that famous roar. And then we find out that the trio is still alive because they did something wrong earlier in the episode, and the rookery eggs, the eggs of the Gargoyles are still around. They're still alive after Hakon to save the princess. Um, However, the Magus, the wizard he casts a spell on them, and they turn to stone even at night. And that's where the story kind of picks up from there. 1,000 years later, they're in the modern time. Um, a billionaire named David Xanatos brings the whole castle from Scotland to New York, and the spell was that the Gargoyles will come back to life if the castle rolls above the clouds. His building was kind of like Avengers Tower, like Stark Tower, like above the whole city. And then, of course, we all know what happens there. And so it's a learning process for the Gargoyles. And that was something I really enjoyed. It was just like, okay, children at times, they were, or in a sense, they were like Captain America. They were out of their own era. So when they're seeing this modern time, they're confused, they're kind of scared, but they want to know where they are. And Xanatos is telling them one thing, but is he telling them the truth? So as a 12-year-old kid at that time, pre-adolescent teen, it was a show. And I was so hooked that when I would go to school and talk to my friends about it, I was glad to see that I had friends that were loving the show as much as I was. Um, so we got to see a lot of that really was just like, okay, this is a good show. This is a really good show. And it was mature and I'm going to get into the maturity of the show as well. They touched on a lot of themes that you weren't expecting a Disney show to touch on. It was like, this is a Disney show, right? The how can I put it? the dynamics of the show, the characterization of the characters, the friendships that bond, especially the, don't worry about that, my brother will get that. Especially the friendship that bonded between Elisa and Goliath and just the Gargoyles in general. She was a true ally. You know, she truly respected and really over time really started to really look at the Gargoyles as family. She loved them. And what was also cool about Sally Richardson Whitfield, who came in, who voiced the character. If you go back and if you never know what she looks like, go Google her name and look at image. You look at her and you're like, oh my God, she looks just like Elisa. Because the one thing I enjoyed about Elisa was she was mixed. She was half black and half Native American. So I fell right into that category right there. So it was really cool. And you know, her father was Native, her mother was black. So she had two siblings, a brother and a sister. The youngest was her sister who was in college out in Arizona. But you see this dynamic of her. She was a cop. She was kind of by the book, but also she reminded, she had a Elisa had a vibe of Misty Knight. Like if you know Misty Knight, you know she was a no, she had that attitude like I'm by the book, but if you get in my way, I will F your shit up. You know what I'm saying? Like so, and I love the scene where her and Goliath first meet. You know, it's really fun. So but that's the kind of a gist of Gargoyles in a sense. I'll talk more, don't worry. Right now I want to get into some of your guys' questions. And you know, definitely want to interact with you guys. So as well as I said before, this is a theme Q&A. Once again, keep the themes towards Gargoyles, not towards anything else. It's all about Gargoyles here. So let's get into some of these. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this. All right. Okay. Travis, you said I don't blame Dingo for leaving the pack. The pack probably was one of the frequent gargoyle villains, rogues that came through the show. They had a big evolution as well. Whether it was, you know, there was five of them: Fox, Dingo, Wolf, Coyote, and Jackal. Did I say Dingo? I said Dingo. Yeah, and they all kind of had an evolution. Their first episode that appeared was really cool. That's one of my favorite episodes. Their debut and them tricking Lexington into um, trusting them, and all they wanted to do was hunt them. And they hunted Goliath and Lexington, which was a really good episode. But over time, you just saw them really start changing. They came back in the after they went to jail for the first time. They came back. No, they after they went. No, only a few of them went to jail. Then Jacko and Hyena didn't get caught. They got caught later on when they tried to kill David Xanatos, and then they all were in jail to the season 2 premiere. They came back and broke out of jail thanks to a guy called Coyote, and who turned out to be a robot of David Xanatos, android. And later on, they got mutated. Some of them got Wolf got mutated. Jacko and Hyena became cyborgs. Dingo just put on like a suit of armor, and Fox didn't do anything. It was really interesting. So they had a big evolution, and then Dingo went back to his native Australia, and he joined up with and became like a good guy. So yeah, it was good to see Dingo pretty much turn in for the better, very much. That song is stuck in my head. I'm glad. Good. Um, Green Goblin, if you want to go that way. Yeah, Keith David does make everything awesome, Matt. I love that guy. You know, there's a guy I would love to meet. You know, everything that man touched, I've always been a big supporter of it, whether it's his live action stuff or his voiceover work. Hell, he made Spawn badass. You know, remember him voicing Spawn? Great. Let's see. Okay. Hey Justin, not really a big fan of Gargoyle. Justin, you came to the wrong place with that. Don't you came to the wrong. Then you need to get on top of it because it's actually a really good show. I've never met anybody who wasn't a fan or they what the hell is this? These are old. Yeah, these are old. I think. I've never met anybody who hasn't been a fan of the show. Who never really got into the show. There were just really good episodes. Even when they did the what also I cool I loved about it was the fact that they introduced a lot of characters from Shakespeare's plays. You know, Puck, Oberon, King Arthur was in this show. You know, Macbeth. Macbeth. Wow, talk about a real good character story arc for Macbeth. And you had a lot of actors, voice actors in the show that was from Star Trek: The Next Generation, which was really good. Was really good as well. Um, uh, yeah, I will say that when Macbeth killed Duncan, that was serious. Oh, sorry about that. Um, yeah, I'm gonna get into the Macbeth stuff because they pretty much really did follow the play. They really did follow the play. If you never read Macbeth, uh, it's a very hard play to read at times. A lot of William Shakespeare stuff is really hard to read, but over time you understand the gist of it. But yeah, I remember when he killed Macbeth killed Duncan. I mean, he hit him with that ball and he exploded. It was crazy. Um, yeah, you know, at the time, stuff like that, you just like you forget that this is a Disney show. They really push the boundaries of this show. Um, your favorite line from the show? My favorite line from the show, um, probably came from Hudson. I think it was season two. Christian, when um the gargoyles were thought they were facing Macbeth, and he kept coming back, and he kept saying, "Farewell, my enemies," and all it was, and Macbeth hit Hudson with like this powder, and when they turned to stone and he came back, Hudson was still stone. But what they little did they know that Hudson was actually captured by David Xanatos, and Xanatos always wanted like some kind of immortality, you know, at first, and this kind of led up to Owen getting his hand turned to stone. They needed a piece of gargoyle skin, and Hudson thought they a live skin, but they just needed stone skin. It worked. And I remember Hudson basically going on talking about growing old scares you, doesn't it? And he basically went on to talk about, you know, immortality. True immortality is about what you do in life, not what, you know, living on. Basically, he's saying, so basically he was saying, like, you know, what that's true immortality, what people are going to remember you by when everything is done. What are people going to remember you by? That's true immortality. And Xanatos didn't get that. You know what, I should actually look it up because I really wanted that line was one of my favorite lines when he said that too. I want to um I want to make sure I get that line right. Uh, I want to make sure I get it. I want to make sure I get it because that was one of my favorite lines from Hudson. I want to make sure I get it. Um, let's see. Let me see. Damn it. I know there's a quote. A lot of the quotes did come from Hudson. That's the good quotes. That's the thing. A lot of them came. Goliath had a lot of good quotes too, but Hudson had some good lines as well. Um, if I could find them, it's hard to. There was a site that actually had all the quotes. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I got one. All right. All right. Here we go. Um. I got the whole quote right here. I'm just trying to find the whole thing where he said it. Okay, here it is. Here it is right here. A friendly advice. True immortality isn't about living forever, man. I'm not gonna do the Scottish accent. Sorry. Um, uh, it's about what you do with the time you have. When all your scheming is done, what will be your legacy, Xanatos? That was one of my favorite quotes. When he said that, it hit me. I was like, "Ooh, that was a good one." And almost Xanatos could not come back with a comeback with that. That was so good. Um, so yeah, that's one of my favorite lines, definitely right there from the show. Um, the Steel Clan were like their version of the Sentinels. I would definitely kind of look at them as the Sentinels. Xanatos created them when he made a whole battle suit. It was really cool. But yeah, it was it is what it was. They were just used to get but they were pushovers most of the time. Yes, I will say that too, Travis. When Owen turned out to be Puck all this time, that was probably another big moment because you did not expect that, and that was probably the second season, pretty much by the almost the finale. During the final episodes of the Avalon story arc, which a lot of my friends have said maybe went on a little too long. Uh, that kind of went on a little too long, but yeah, Owen turned out to be when Oberon came to get Xanatos's child because he had magical properties because his mother was the daughter of Oberon's wife, Titania. They wanted him, and Owen turned out to be Puck in disguise. It was just really cool. I was like, what? That was really cool. You know what else was another good episode? I think one of the episodes that really kind of shocked. Now I'm sure this probably shocked you guys was the episode when Elisa got shot. That episode where she was lying in a pool of her own blood, and they showed it. They edited it out later on, but that episode was like when Broadway being, he was watching an old Western movie, kind of like an homage to Clint Eastwood's character. And, he saw the gun and he came to Elisa's apartment. He saw Elisa's gun and he picked it up. Now, I always, me and my brother Malcolm, we watched that episode not too long ago. And I always said, Lisa, being a cop, you know, she should have had the safety on her gun no matter what. And you know, Hudson is playing with it. I mean, Broadway's playing with it, and he turns around and bam, it just goes off, and he's looking for Elise, and he's like, "Sorry, I was messing with your gun. I'm sorry, it went off." You know, it was the same actor who voiced Patrick uh, from SpongeBob SquarePants. That's who did Broadway's voice. And Elisa is on the floor, and he takes Elisa to drops her at the hospital, and his hands just covered with blood. And you know, that was a really scary scene right there. Now you got to imagine a kid seeing that for the first time. They're like, "Oh my god!" That's why it was always like, "This is a kid's show. This is a kid's show. Like this is a Disney show." And you know, Lisa nearly died. You know, because you know, and she didn't blame Broadway for it. She was like, you know, we were both in the wrong. I should have put my gun away, but I didn't. You know, and we were wrong on both parts. You know, because remember they thought it was Dracon who did it, but it was, you know, Broadway told Goliath when Goliath nearly went Punisher, as always, like, you know, I was going to kill him, and you know, he told him, you know, I did it. I always love when the gargoyles, their eyes turn white. You know, that's when their true strength came out. You know, when the females turned red, the males turned white. I love that. I thought it was cool that they made Demona, you know, kind of the bad guy. You know, she always smelled like she was going to be the bad. Even in the first couple episodes, it was like I don't trust her. Just alone, I did not trust Demona. You know, even though she the hair, the hair. I don't know. It's just something about Demona. She's like she always felt like she was better than everybody, and you know, yeah, she did have a Magneto vibe. You know, it was like, why should we protect the humans? Blah 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 blah, and things like that. And we got to see later on she made a deal with the captain of the guards, and she had many opportunities to tell the rest of the clan to get out of the castle, but she didn't. So all of this kind of revolved around her. Everything that happened to the Scotland clan was on her, but she couldn't see that. You know, it was really interesting about that. I loved what was the other thing I loved how the gargoyles got their names. You know, it felt right to have their names suitable for their environment. You know, remember when how Hudson got his name after, because Goliath was the only gargoyle that had a name, and you know, but I remember, you know, Hudson was like, no, Elisa was like, so what do I call you? And Hudson was like, "Do you humans always got to name something? Nothing's never something until you name it. Does the sky have a name? Does the river have a name?" And Lisa said that river is called the Hudson. And he was like, "Oh, okay, fine, Lass. Then I'll be the Hudson." And I was like, "Okay." And then, of course, when the trio found out about Hudson's name, it was like, we should get names too. And so Brooklyn, voiced by Jeff Bennett, no relation to me, basically said, I'm I'm Brooklyn, and Broadway said, I'm Broadway, and Lexington said, you know, who he is, Lexington, and then they gave Bronx the name Bronx, and he was like, yeah, I got the perfect name for him. For now on, you're Bronx, and Bronx walked away like, I don't care. It was pretty funny, but yeah, they all had names, and I love how they got their name, but none of them had names. They would remember back in 994. That was the year. They just went by. I remember the little boy named Tom who would become the guardian. He said to them, he's like, so I'm Tom, and so what do you call yourselves? And he's like, besides Goliath, we don't have names. And he's like, so how do you tell each other apart? We just say brother or sister. It's just like, so it kind of was funny. But even after that, even when the show continued, they had 3 seasons. Went from the rec just Gargoyles, and then ABC picked it up for the last season, and they called it Gargoyles: The Goliath Chronicles, and it really kind of chronicled you. Goliath always was like the narrator of the episode, and um, that episode, the Goliath Chronicles, I felt the first 2 episodes was good, but the others were kind of iffy at best. And I'll get more into the Goliath Chronicles later. But let me get back to some of your questions as well. Then you came to the wrong place, Christian, because it's all about gargoyles, dude. So sorry. Travis, you say Angela really do look like Demona. Yeah, because she was biologically Demona and Goliath's daughter. That's why she looks like her. A lot of the rookery eggs, you could tell whose children they really were. Like Gabriel, he was Cold Stone's son. Look right at him. He's like, yeah. Before Cold Stone became the cyborg, yeah, he was. That's whose child he was. But yeah, Angela was the biological daughter of Goliath and Demona. And when Demona finally figured out who she was, she tried to turn Angela against her own father. And there was times I was just like, Angela, you got to stop giving this woman another chance. Like she's trying to turn you. She's like, you're young, you don't understand. The humans are bad. But Angela was raised by humans, so she and things like that. I mean, she did everything she could try to change Angela, and it was like, Angela, you got to stop. You got to stop, girl. Like
it's just like the relationship between Justice 2 with Supergirl and Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah. You kind of can go there with the Supergirl. How Supergirl was portrayed in Justice 2, and Wonder Woman kind of keeping stuff from her. Yeah, it kind of felt like that. Yeah. Travis, what were your thoughts on about Xanatos and Fox marriage? At first I thought it was just a smokescreen. Did they really love each other, or was it just, they just, what really was it? But we did find out, yeah, they did care about each other, and I yeah, it was just really interesting. Um, uh, Let me see what else. Fang was one of the biggest assholes in the show. Oh, we talking about now? We're going to the mutates. Yeah. As you all know, later on in the show, Elisa's brother, Derek, got mutated into a mutate. A mutant hybrid. There was a villain on the show called Dr. Anton Savaris, voiced by the great. Um, what? Oh, I know who voiced him. Um, Tim. Oh my God! Now I lost it. Tim Curry. There we go. I was about to say Tim Curry voiced Dr. Anton Tavares. He kind of reminded me of, he was like Dr. Frankenstein mixed with Dr. Uh, Monroe, and he Xanatos wanted him to learn, find a way to kind of mix gargoyle DNA mixed with other animals to create his own kind of uh, legion of, and they also, he schemed and got Derek involved, and for a long time Derek was being plagued by, Lisa would tell her brother, don't go with Xanatos, but he didn't listen, and until it was too late, and it was his blind rage because he thought Goliath turned them into this mutate. They were mixed with cats and bats, so they didn't turn to stone, but they also had like these electrical powers. And one of the characters on Derek's group was called Fang, who was voiced by Jim Belushi, which was funny. He was a dick. He was a real big dick later on, and he thought he was better than them and things like that. But Derek, he stayed that way because there was no cure. He didn't have a cure. But he did find love. He did find love with the other mutate named Maggie. She was her name. She was a homeless woman from Ohio that came to the city, and but it was kind of interesting because Brooklyn also kind of liked her too, but you know it was uh it was messed up about Brooklyn. Brooklyn, yeah, there was some things. Um, a lot of the characters had rivalries. If you just heard my brother, a lot of Brooklyn hated Damona with a passion. He hated her. So anytime Damona came on the scene and he was there, he would flip out, just like Lexington with the pack. He hated the pack, and so Brooklyn hated Damona because Damona tricked Brooklyn into bringing him this book, the Gamorum, not Gamorum, the Gamorum. This was this spell book, and she used it and made Goliath like to this mindless husk that she could, just to command him to do what he wants. And Goliath, he hated it. He really hated Damona. He blamed himself for why, and after Goliath came back to normal, he apologized to Goliath. Remember that episode? He was like, "I'm sorry about everything. I really hated, And Goliath told him, "I could hear you. I could hear everything you said. I just couldn't act on it." But Goliath was that father figure to all the others. He was strict, but he was firm though, and he was a real good leader, but fair. He was a real good leader. There were times, they didn't agree with everything Goliath said, but and they would tell him like, Goliath, you're wrong. Like the time when Elisa was telling Goliath, you got to leave the castle. You're not safe here. Who knows who's gonna come? When they put Xanatos in prison, they were like, Xanatos is probably gonna have a vendetta. He's probably gonna hire somebody when you guys are asleep and take a sledgehammer to you. So they moved to the clock tower on right above the police station that Lisa worked at. It was really fun. It was a really good. That was a good, real good way to keep them safe. Lisa always wanted to keep them safe.
I'd say another good line with name is like home is.
Yeah. What was it? What was the Hudson had a he said something about the air that we breathe. You know, home is where the heart lies, or something like. It was really good. It's another good line. Hudson had some just really good lines in that. Um, um, uh, all right, so okay, I guess we got some trolls or so. So, um, let me see what was. I think one of the other things I wanted to talk about is the fact that the gargoyles. We found out that well, we found out that they weren't the only ones. They weren't alone in the world. We found out that there were other gargoyles in other countries that survived. There were gargoyles in South America that protected the rainforest that didn't turn to stone because they had these amulets that Mayan priests gave to them. We found that gargoyles in England that lived, but they kind of showed their age though. But gargoyles, what did they? Gargoyles age 1/4 of how humans age, so they still they may look old, but they are still capable of moving. Um, and the British gargoyles look like typical what you would find. You think about one of them was a lion, one was a griffin. His name was Griff. Other one was a unicorn. Her name was Una. And that was probably another one of my favorite episodes when Goliath went back to the 1940s during World War II, England, when during the Blitz, the Blitzkrieg, and him and Griff, fought the Nazis, which was really cool. I love that episode because when they went to this was during the arc. Goliath, Bronx, and Elisa landed in England, and they saw a statue, and the statue had gargoyles on it, and one of the gargoyles looked like Goliath, and it was like, okay, how is that possible? The gargoyles that met Una and Leo knew Goliath, but he couldn't remember them, and he used the Phoenix Gate, was like this magical amulet that would send you back in time. And I remember the incantation of how to get back. Uh, it was in Latin, so it was "Desregrate more ente temprevalia." Yeah, that was it. There we go. And so he would use that, and you would go a boil of light with a ball of light and fire would come around you, and you go back in time. And that's where Goliath went, and that's how he met Griff for the first time, and we got to see that's how Goliath knew him. Probably my favorite in terms of meeting other gargoyles was when they went to Japan, and you got to see the Japan clan. That was really cool. I love that. The episode's entitled Shido. And what was really cool about that was if you all watch Goliath, when they turned to stone, they would face the sun, and so they would greet the sun. The 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 Japanese clan would turn inward to face their home, and it was like a badge of endearing of respect to the humans that were friends with them. So I thought that was really cool. That was I love that episode. It's called Bushido. It's a really good episode that really showcased like, yeah, see, there are other gargoyles. Even that even that clan even real was all about hoping to find other gargoyles. The clan leader was named Kai. One of the other gargoyles was named Yama, and he wanted to expose his clan to the world, but that wasn't the way of doing it. Um, yeah, it was just a really really interesting. We got to see Goliath meet King Arthur. King Arthur, Pendragon, which was really good. Um, who else did they meet? They went to Africa, and you got to see them face Anansi, the spider god. And we found out that all the gods that appeared in this show were children of Oberon. So Odin, was a child of Oberon. The Banshee was a child of. It was really cool. Oberon was like the Zeus of the children of Oberon. The children. It was really cool. So it was really fun. It was a really good episode. Those were really good episodes. Um, the original. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm Travis. You talking about? Um, Travis. All right. Let me get to that real quick. Travis. The original Hunter feud with Demona was petty. Um. Yeah, it was kind of petty. I mean, Demona kind of started it. Did she have to? Scar Gilcom Gaines. No, not Gilcom. Yeah, was it Gilcom Gaines? Gilcom Gaines' face. Yeah, he was just going to the shepherd to the wood, the farmhouse, and then she comes out and scars his face, and yeah, that's how it started, and that's how the Hunter feud started from her, and the Hunter. There was always the Hunter passed down from children, father to children, even to the point where they called her the demon. That's how they knew her. You know, um, each son fought her because she was immortal. Remember, Demona and Macbeth had immortality thanks to the Weird Sisters, these three witches that gave them immortality. The only way they can die was if they killed each other. That was the only way. They had to be in the proximity of each other. Like, so yeah, it was kind of petty. It was, but it was a hell of a story arc too. Like, you saw, like, it went from here, point A to point B to point C, so much. It was like, Jesus Christ, like, she caused as much damage to that family to than they did to her. BB, that's a really nice hat. What brand is it, and what does the inside of the hat look like? Uh, uh, well, okay, I'll answer this question. It's it's a it's a new era hat, of course, and on the front it's got my favorite NBA team, Chicago Bulls. There you go. But I just keep it backwards. Uh, but yeah, keep the questions coming. Keep it towards guys, Gargoyles. I'll ask you guys, who's your favorite gargoyle? Who's your favorite gargoyle? Matter of fact, we may not put an episode on so you guys can. I may put an episode on for you guys just to let's do that, shall we? How about we put on the final episode of Awakening? If I get a copywriting, I get a copywriting. No, you know what? We're gonna put on Thrill the Hunt, episode 6, the first episode of the pack. There you go. Um, so y'all can look at a little bit of Gargoyles in the back. Okay, Travis, you say Brooklyn. Brooklyn, he's probably my out of Goliath. He was my favorite too. I will say that too. Um, he was probably one of my favorites too. I really did like that character. Uh, Indeed. So let's uh, let's talk a little bit about the villains. Besides Demona, Xanatos, the Pack, those were and Macbeth. But then Macbeth kind of became like, I don't know if you could call him a full fledged villain because he kind of went both ways in some sense. But definitely, if you were to say the most villains used, it probably was Demona was definitely the villain, and the Pack, indeed. As you guys can see, there's Owen, who was actually Puck in disguise, and there's Lisa right there. Jeff Bennett did a lot of voice work on this show too. He did. Jeff Bennett's another good voiceover actor. Um, but you could see them about to turn. You know what's always funny about the show? Like, they would come at the right moment when they would turn to living. There you go.
excuse me. Elisa, it was a sight to greet us as we awakened.
Well, it's a slow night and friends in the neighborhood.
Good to see you again, Wes.
Catch you later.
Travis asked me, what was your thoughts on Bluestone? I like Bluestone. I thought he was a cool character. You know, another good ally to Goliath and them. You know, he was just a conspiracy theorist as well. You know, the Illuminati and stuff like that. But he was right. But yeah, he was a good partner too to Elisa. He really was. He was a good partner.
He was accused of that specific crime, and that's what he was sent to prison for. But he only got a 6-month sentence, and we were lucky he wasn't suspended. His lawyers would probably get that time cut down. The point is that it's not safe here for you.
Robert didn't. Who said that? David. Big Lad. Robert De Niro playing. Wow. I mean, not Robert. Robert Downey Jr. David Xanatos.
Sorry, but it's not. Xanatos bought it, lock, stock, and
I don't know because he's just basically play Iron Man again. Just a villain. I guess you could say that. I mean, that is a good. Good choice. I could have just,
This world is full of marvels. See,
That he passed away was Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith could have played him. Who played Ares and Hercules. I could have seen him play.
Hey, it's the pack. Cool.
Yeah, but Xanatos is not always that funny. He's not funny all the time. He was kind of serious at times. But yeah, I could see your point. Definitely.
I thought you liked this show. Listen, I do, but not every.
This episode also has a moral to the story. That's why I also like it. Is like they believe that almost everything they saw on TV was real. They didn't know this was when they first. So they thought like, okay, they were really.
These guys are great. They're warriors, just like us.
You see. And of course, they also had a comic too, which I did collect the comic. And that kind of furthered the story, and we got to find out a lot more about the Gargoyles. Greg Weisman, it was announced that, a lot of things from the first 2 episodes of the Goliath Chronicles, and then in the comics, Greg Weisman went into where he was going to go with the show. Greg Weisman going on record to say he never wanted David Xanatos to turn fully good guy. He never wanted that.
This job, we were promised fame, money, and action. I'm not complaining about the first 2, but I could use some more of the third.
Sounds like the Wolfman is getting bored. Maybe a new haircut would help.
Hey, Ricky, what's up?
Suggestions from you 2 clowns.
Yeah.
Right, folks. This is a cushy gig, but we're all
That's Dingo right there, guys. If you see him, when they cloned the Gargoyles, that was really good. Phaelog was definitely a good villain. He tortured Goliath a lot. He was smart too. And of course they had the other Goliaths, the other clones like Brentwood and all those other. And even there was a clone of Elisa. I forgot her name. Delilah. That was her name. That was also a good episode.
What's the point of it?
You said you were looking for action. Imagine hunting something like this. We'll figure it all out later. Right now, we have a personal appearance to make.
Personal appearance. Madison Square Garden. Famous arena. Enjoy the show, guys. Like, enjoy it. Like, if you could see it.
Is it time for the show to start? Relax, it'll happen.
Or you could just hear it. but I just enjoy it. Y'all continue to ask questions. This is one of my favorite episodes for sure, guys. Um, David, Manu Bennett as Goliath. If they did a, yeah, okay, see, this is a good question. Thanks for that, because now I can kind of go into the rumor of them maybe want to do a live action movie. Um, I would want them to find somebody, because I want them in full prosthetics. You got to find somebody that's willing to get all the makeup on and everything like that. However, I would still want Keith David to voice Goliath. I did still voice him. I would want the original actors to voice their characters.
You guys go ahead.
The comic series, and so yeah, Manu Bennett maybe. I like Manu Bennett, and you say, but I also think Mike Coulter has the voice for Goliath. Mike Coulter, I do love Mike Coulter, but I still say Keith David continue to voice. You know, like they did for Silver Surfer. They had somebody else play the character, but Lawrence Fishburne voiced the character. And here's Lexington being confused because of the fact that he he thinks he thinks they're good guys.
How did you know about him? Like I said, rumors, news reports. I wasn't sure they were true, but I hoped they
Gargoyles meeting the TMNT, the Turtles. That would be great. That would be great. I would take that Omicron real quick. That would be cool. I think they would get along real well. Indeed. But yeah, I think personally, if they do the live action, if they do a live action, I want them to keep the original actor. Hell, even they get Elisa, just get Sally Richardson Whitfield to play Elisa. That's all she. I'm telling you, go if you've never seen what she looks like. That's all she is. Like,
I sure do. They're just like us. They defend the innocent, and they do it on television.
You let them see you?
Yes, I did. And why not? You made friends with Elisa.
yep,
That was different.
that's exactly what Greg Weisman actually wanted to make Gargoyles into a full-fledged franchise. Yeah, I know. You know, yeah, that's kind of what I would like, David. You know, I grew up. I'm an '80s child, so hearing Peter Cullen's voice come out of Optimus Prime in the first movie, I'm not a big fan of the Bayformers, Michael Bay's version. I can watch the original, but I would yeah, keep David as Goliath.
They don't even know where we live.
You know,
Look, will you please meet them before you judge them?
I think if anyone would understand us, they would.
We can't hide from the whole world up here.
this is a good line right here too.
But we've got to look for them, and we've got to give them a chance, or else we'll always be alone.
That was a good line. I love that line too by Lexington.
If it's safe, we'll arrange introductions for the rest of you.
A show based around a reformed pack. I doubt that, because Wolf I could never see Wolf changing. I could never see Jacko and Hyena changing. Dingo was the only one that was and Fox. All right, here we go. I'm gonna shut up right now. Watch the show. Check it out. Watch the eyes. for this part. As you all know, Lexington was the smaller side of them, so he can run on all fours, and his wings were a lot different as well. As you all know, they didn't fly, but Goliath was probably the strongest out of them. See, look at him rip through that, no problem.
The roof, hurry!
I wouldn't mind them doing that, David. I wouldn't mind them at all. Focusing on maybe the King Arthur stuff. That's fine, you know. But more likely, I mean, I would want the movie to not play off back on the origin. The way I would do it is if people they've just hold on.
Yes. I think they plan to do so from the moment they met you.
But why? We're not their enemies. They're no more than animals.
Worse than that. An animal hunts because it's hungry. These hunters do it for sport.
I'm never trusting anyone again.
Lexington!
I'm all right.
Omnitron, you say I was reading a fanfic earlier, Night Terrors, where Batman and the Gargoyles teamed up to fight Scarecrow, and the author really brought up some interesting parallels between Batman and Gargoyles. Okay. And that was also another one of Greg Weisman's planned shows too. Reincarnation of the Knights of the Round Table reforming in a wow. David, do you want David Danos to play the main villain, or save him for last and have him hire the Jackals? You mean Jackal and Hyena? If they did the live action movie, they probably may do that if they did it. You know, Xanatos was kind of like the major villain or minor villain. I don't know. But like I said, Greg Weisman didn't want Xanatos to become a good guy. He didn't.
Hey, look.
Go read the comics and you'll see like he was still kind of scheming. That's kind of where Weisman wanted to go with the character. Like he wasn't always necessarily bad, fully good, nor fully bad. This is my part.
Come away from them.
Yeah, they're shooting a movie or something. Yeah. You'll get in the way. Get back. These are dangerous monsters sent by...
I'm sure you guys recognize Wolf's voice.
We'll protect you. Big fat beast.
They're monsters.
They're attacking a cat. We gotta help them.
Watch this part.
Stop it!
Stupid.
Come on.
It looks awfully real.
Now, while the street's deserted, finish them quickly.
Amitron, you say, you know what annoys me? People who aren't into gargoyles thinking they're demons. That always bugs the hell out of me. Gargoyles, even in mythology, gargoyles are guardian spirit. Like I said, Amitron was just talking about that earlier. I live in New York, so when I'm in Manhattan in the city, there's gargoyles all over the city. Like you can see them. Just go look up, and there's one right there. You know, the concept of what Weisman did was just it wasn't even like, oh, that's stupid. It makes sense. The whole code of the Gargoyles, they protect. You know, no matter what, they protect. And that was really cool to see that. No matter how much they get plagued by humans, you know, their code was Gargoyles protect. Like I said, they had a X-Men vibe, you know, they protect what people fear. You know, people fear them, but they protect them. Yeah, I never really looked at, you know, there was also a good line, Omnitron, that Elisa said, no, Elisa's sister said, and she replied to it. When Elisa's younger sister first saw the Gargoyles, she said, they look kind of alien, beautiful, but very alien. And all Lisa said was, after a while, all you see is the beauty in them. I was like, that's a perfect line.
Stay together.
I love how the Gargoyles used to always kind of defeat some of their enemies. They use the element of surprise, like they're doing here.
I'm out of here. No, we can take them. Forget it. This wasn't in my contract.
Jackal, no!
Let me see. What did you say? I'm just trying. Another interesting mythological fact: Gargoyles in mythology and myth had power over water. I didn't know that. Wow, that's cool. Okay, this is how right here. This is how Fox and Wolf and Dingo all ended up in jail. They went to jail first before Jackal and Hyena. They didn't get caught yet. See that guy that was taking pictures? That's why they went to jail. And here comes Lex. Your favorite part of Gargoyles, David, was the Avalon saga. I enjoyed the Avalon saga too. There are some of my friends that thought it went too long. They think it went too long. But it was a good run. That's where we saw other gargoyles. The gargoyles in South America that protected the Amazon rainforest. The gargoyles in England. The gargoyles in Japan. One of my favorite episodes, the Shido. And we would also find out that the Viking that destroyed Goliath's clan, Hakon, is actually related to Wolf. They're actually their ancestor. He's one of his ancestors. I was like, wow, okay.
I feel like a fool letting the pack talk me into luring you there.
Because of who we are, we have to be cautious about trusting strangers.
I was so totally wrong.
No, Lexington.
Okay, here's another good line I love too.
We can't hide from the world. We must live in it. We must search for allies, kindred spirits. And sometimes we must take chances like we did tonight. To do otherwise is to remain forever alone.
It's nice to know there are still some heroes left.
We just watched the news.
The pack's been arrested. They have photographs of Fox holding a woman hostage.
Here it is.
They were the good guys.
See?
Maybe we shouldn't believe everything we see on television.
See? They believed everything they saw on television was real. You know, Hudson even said it. I thought they were the good guys. And the actor who voiced Hudson, he's a legendary actor. Very legend. He's a legend. And he passed away a couple of years ago.
Everything was done as you stipulated, sir. The cable TV was adjusted so that the only program the Gargoyles could see was the packs. The pack received the mysterious
See what I'm talking about? That's why he was better as a villain than a hero. He was always scheming. Like He did all that.
I created the pack to be far more than just a TV show. I had to see how good they were. And having underestimated Goliath once before, I needed to know what he was capable of as well. All in all, I'd say the test was most informative.
Well, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed that episode of Gargoyles. If I get a copyright, I don't know. I just hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, I'm having my first season DVD run, so it's all the complete season one I'm doing. So uh, somebody asked me about the Goliath Chronicles. I wanted to talk about that. I did not hate the Goliath Chronicles, but I did feel that um, they rushed it. I think ABC or whoever rushed Mr. Weisman into what he really wanted to do for that season. I didn't really care for the Quarrymen. I thought they were kind of stupid. They reminded me of they just were stupid. A group of humans. They wear masks and they have like these sledgehammers that you can charge up like a shotgun pump, and you pump it. Um, I thought the Goliath Chronicles failed. They rushed in terms of all the great villains that the series had. They weren't on the Goliath Chronicles as much. They had like one episode and that was it. Like Demona was only in one episode. It was just like, really? She was only in one episode. Um, it was just weird. Even when I did like when they saved the humans from when they were on the train, because that's where their series ended, where they finally got accepted by humans. Like, yeah, they're not bad. But I know Greg Weisman didn't want it to end. I think he said that he had planned for the Gargoyles to do something to save humanity, like, or humans like that, but he didn't. It was gonna lead up to that. Uh, but yeah, it is what it was. It was just kind of bad at times. Um, Let me see. Omnitron, what do you think of the odds are of it not a continuation of Gargoyles, but a reboot similar to DuckTales reboot, bringing the best parts, maybe bringing in the comics elements to a new show? I would take a semi reboot of the show if they, because I'm loving the new DuckTales. You know, I will take a reboot if they let Greg Weisman do his thing, not somebody's over him. Like, let him do it. Um, let's see what else we have here. David, if they do bring Gargoyles to TV, where do you think it would fit better for views, at least, and what station would you put? That's a good question. Um, well, of course, it'll be on some Disney network. That's because it's owned by Disney. Let's be honest, yeah. I mean, I would love to be on Netflix, but you know, we all know Disney is removing a lot of its stuff from Netflix, so it'll be hard. It'll be really hard. It'll be on a Disney program. You know that for sure. Uh, did you know they were planning a Mighty Ducks and Gargoyles crossover? Are we what really? That would have been kind of interesting, but weird at the same time. If Gargoyles was on TV live action, I could see it go for 4 seasons max. Yeah, maybe, because you got to look at it from a cost standpoint as well. Um, Lamar, was Demona right about humans? No, because Elisa was a prime example of that. Elisa was a prime example of there are she never betrayed them. she never once thought about selling them out.
But the thing is,
Mhm.
even if Demona was rapping humans, it doesn't change the fact that she will always be a hypocrite.
Yeah, Demona was the biggest hypocrite of them all. Demona was a big hypocrite. It was like, she's the one that caused her clan to get destroyed. She's the one who created the Hunter. She did this. She was the biggest hypocrite. You know, you know, and I love that episode where Demona, after I think it happened when Demona, after Puck gave Demona the ability to become human during the day, because she wanted not to turn to stone in the daytime. So Puck, being Puck who he is, he basically said, "Okay, during the day you're going to be human, but at night you're going to be a gargoyle." So yeah, I remember when Demona thought she could prove Goliath right when by basically taking Goliath and the rest of the gargoyles and using them as bait and thinking that Elisa would not come for them. She did. And this is when Elisa was dead tired. She had worked like a double and she didn't sleep all day and she went after them. So she was the biggest hypocrite. Demona was not right at all. And it was just like how Goliath said, there's good and evil in all of us, human and gargoyle alike. So yeah, she was right. Favorite episode, mine's was City of Stone. That was a good story arc too, because that's where we got to see the relationship between Macbeth and Demona, how she lived that long. Because there was always that question: how did Demona live that long? You know, how come she was still young? She told Goliath that the Magus uh, did the same spell to her, but that wasn't true. So yeah, it was a good episode. Matter of fact, you can kind of I'll even turn that episode on where she kind of gives into detail how she got her name and everything like that. Let's see if I could do it real quick. It was Awakening. We're gonna go to that episode, which was the part 5 of the where she talks about, you know, that kind of stuff. So y'all could check that out a little bit as well. Okay. Yeah. Let me see. Um, Let me see. Favorite episode. I said before, Lamar. One of my favorite episodes was Bushido when Goliath and them were in Japan and they got to meet the Japanese clan. Another one was when Goliath was in World War II and he helped Griff. Thrill of the Hunt. We just watched that not too long ago. When they first the debut of the pack. There's a couple episodes. I like City of Stone as well. There's so many episodes I liked. Um, the Mirror. Oh yeah, the Mirror was a good episode when all of Manhattan got turned to gargoyles and the gargoyles got turned to human, and you got to see what they would look like as humans. That was fun. Elisa got turned to a gargoyle. It was fun. I think it could have worked. It could have worked. Um, Speaking of the captain, I remember Travis. You was talking about the captain. He really blamed himself for betraying Goliath, and you know he talked about that until his spirit was able to go, like, to, I guess, to heaven. Um, Demona was jealous of Elisa. Of course, she was jealous. Manu Bennett as Macbeth, that could probably work better. But they would probably go for it could work, but they would probably go for an actor who's got more drama, who could really bring out the drama of that character. Yeah, wrong floor. Wrong floor. Yeah, that was good. Oh my God! Yes, he did. Omnitron. I will. Yes. Human Goliath did look like Conan. I was like, I totally forgot about it. He did look like Conan the Barbarian. Yeah, he did. He did. What if Macbeth and Demona got married and fell in love? That wouldn't have worked. That'd have been weird. It never happened. She was supposed to be in love with Phaelog, but Phaelog was just using her. You know, if I can't have the real, then I'll go to his clone, Macbeth and Demona. At first, they really cared for each other. Go watch City of Stone. Yeah, they were really caring until it changed.
We did it. Yeah. Let's get back to the castle.
Let's I'm gonna skip ahead to some of the parts.
Sir,
Skip ahead. Sorry guys, I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. Okay. Let's skip to where Lisa was talking about Xanatos tricking him, Goliath. This truly just showed how loyal Elisa was, you know, even for someone new. Here we go.
Where have you been? I've been looking all over town for you.
why?
3 cyberbiotics installations have reported robberies by some kind of creatures. And I saw you and another gargoyle flying away from the plane wreck. What's this all about, Goliath?
The discs were stolen from Xanatos. We returned them to him.
Where do you see the Gargoyles existing better? The DC universe, the Marvel universe, or the TMNT universe? I can see them existing in all of them, actually.
Are you saying that Xanatos is responsible for the attack in the park?
Definitely the Turtles. If I was to rank it, this is how it would go. Turtles,
But those were the same
Marvel,
who stole the
DC.
discs from him.
That's how it goes.
Goliath, nothing was stolen. I checked. Those discs were cyberbiotics property. To trick you into stealing the discs. He used
Sally Richardson.
He's been using you from the beginning.
Oh my God, I love
Listen,
her.
Goliath, we haven't known each other very long, and I know you don't have any good reason to trust humans. But you've got to trust somebody in this world. And I think you'd be better off with me than Xanatos.
That's why Lisa was one of their greatest allies.
You won't regret it.
What was her tribe again? I think Elisa, her tribe was Hoppy. I believe that's what they say her tribe was. They never really go into detail what tribe her father was from, but we know that her mother's black and her father is Native American. So kind of reminds you of somebody, right? You know, so. And here's your Steel Clan, Travis. There you go. The first time we get introduced to them. I love the fact that Lexington became like the computer whiz of the clan.
Yeah, we had a little trouble adjusting at first, but I think everything's going to be fine now. Whoa!
And Brooklyn became second in command of the. So he did really well. well, Omnitron, David seems to like the idea.
What are those things?
Like I said, the Steel Clan reminded me of the Gargoyles. Their version of the Sentinels.
tell you about a vast improvement. They're steel instead of stone. They don't sleep during the day. They can fly instead of glide.
Gargoyles meeting the Hulk. That would be interesting too. I remember people used to always ask me, you know, how, when I was younger, about like maybe, you know, they used to always, me and my friends, we would talk about it. And one of my friends always just asked, like, why do the gargoyles, why they don't fly? And I was like, they glide, you know, it doesn't look like those wings are meant to flap and flap and flap. You know, they use the currents of air to, see, they're using the air currents to, you know, lift themselves. But I didn't mind that they couldn't fly. And I'm sure you probably saw that a lot of spit that just came out of my mouth. Indeed. No, Elisa's father was not. I know you're talking about Coyote. He wasn't, and neither was her grandfather. Coyote was just a child of. He was the trickster god, but he was a child of Oberon. All the gods that were in the show were Oberon's children. And remember, Hudson was the only one that carried a weapon, that sword. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, it's no problem. I don't mind explaining. Oh, okay. The glider wings. Okay, I get it. Yeah, the Steel Clan was cool, but they were just cannon fodder, you know. But I can see, David, why you say Mr. RDJ to play Xanatos. Because, like I said, he's just going to play Iron Man, you know, just older, you know, just evil. But, you know, Mr. Robert Downey's he's getting up there now, so, you know, I think I don't think he'd want to play kind of the same character, you know, a guy in a suit of armor. Or the Psycho Ray. Yeah, kind of, but I also look at them as the Sentinels because the Sentinels, they were, you know, robots. Okay, here's one of my favorite lines. It's funny to me, cracks me up. It's what Brooklyn says.
You haven't won anything.
We won, dude. Dude, that's funny. Speaking of Power Rangers, Gargoyles, there's a crossover. There's a crossover. I don't know about that one.
What are you doing? Well then, let's just let them play out their little drama, shall we?
Goliath, you're
All right, now listen.
But then you always were, weren't you? If you'd only taken the rest of our clan away from the castle that night, the plan was perfect. It would have succeeded.
What plan?
I made a bargain with the captain. I was to get us all out of the castle so that the Vikings could sack it.
What?
It would have worked. And after the humans were gone, we would have had the castle all to ourselves.
See that?
But you ruined it. You had to protect the humans. You made us stay at the castle when we should have been with you. When the Vikings attacked, the captain said he'd protect us. But I didn't trust him. I stayed alive because I don't trust anyone.
But why did you do it?
You can ask me that. After how they treated us, they had to pay. All humanity has to pay for what they did to our kind.
There's good and evil in all of us, human and gargoyle alike. You should know that more than anyone. Don't you see? None of this would have happened if it weren't for you.
Don't say that.
See?
Goliath,
That's typical excuse for a hypocrite.
Humanity is a poison that must be purged from this planet. Together, you and I can create a new world for our kind. You trusted me once. You loved me once. We have found each other again after 1,000 years of solitude. Does that mean nothing to you? Very well, then. If you are not my ally, then you are my enemy. I have a name too, Goliath. The humans gave it to me long ago. You should know it before you die. I am Demona. Goodbye, Goliath.
Famous roar.
She wanted me to destroy humanity. I think I'll start with you. Go ahead. Without me, you'd still be gathering moss.
No, Goliath! Don't do this.
Give me one good reason not to drop him.
Because if you do, you're the same as Demona.
She's right, lad. Is that what you want?
Let me see what else you guys got for me. What about the guy who played Lex Luthor in Smallville playing Venom? Michael Rosenberg? That'd be kind of interesting. I mean, can he grow facial hair? That's the thing. Maybe.
Hey, where are my sunglasses?
Thanks, Bronx.
Thanks, Bronx.
I always wanted Bronx to talk. I don't know why. I always wanted to hear what he sounded like if he could talk. Guess
You
not.
just ate. I know. Chinese food. It was good, too. For some reason, about an hour later, I was hungry.
It's nice to know I have at least one human friend.
My favorite line right here.
I hope you have more. Lots more.
It's another
Whether you
favorite
do or
line.
not, I'll always be your friend, Goliath. Same time tomorrow night?
I wouldn't miss it.
Good. Maybe we'll catch a Giants game.
Giants?
Maybe we'll catch a Giants game. Giants? Yeah, it's funny.
I wonder if this city's ready for you guys.
Okay. Just wanted to. Yeah. Omicron. I definitely would say that Demona is a far more hypocritical Magneto. Like Magneto, decent points, but more often not. No, never makes a good point of her argument. Yes, she don't. She's the biggest hypocrite. And if you look at the course of the season and all the episodes, she had no real big argument to basically back up her anger. Like I said, when Angela came into the picture, her daughter, what did she try to do? Plague Angela. Malcolm, my brother, just said it kind of reminded me how she tried to turn Angela against Goliath is kind of how Angela came off like how Supergirl is in Injustice 2. How Wonder Woman tried to turn her, and they didn't tell them all about what Clark was doing. So it was kind of the same thing. She was the biggest hypocrite of them all. That's fine. I'm glad it did. One I read what got deleted was a Punisher cross with the Gargoyles. At first, couldn't quite get why Frank needed to be stopped, since back in their time he'd be a hero. Oh, okay. Goliath Raw sound like he just woke up from a hangover, like damn. Then yeah, but that's Keith David. For he was good at that stuff. As in Frank would be considered nothing but a pure hero vanquishing evil in the land, and so that's a good take as well. But I think over time they could also see what Steve Rogers and people see in Frank as like, yeah, his intentions are somewhat good, but you're still killing people. It's like, you know, there's a vendetta behind, but I think Goliath could also see from Frank's point is like there's a pain from it. And Hudson definitely could see it, coming from an old soldier like Hudson, he could see, there's a pain. That's another thing about Hudson. Hudson had some good spotlight episodes too. I love when he met his good friend Robbins, who was the blind guy, that was also a good episode too, when they finally did it in the Goliath Chronicles, where Hudson started going blind in his good eye. Because remember, Hudson has a bad eye, and his good eye he started going blind there, and he had an operation to save his eye, and he Robbins, his blind friend, and he finally was about to tell Robinson about that he was a gargoyle, but he already knew he's a gargoyle. He's like, I should go. I can't be here, and anything. He's like, why? Because you're a gargoyle, and he's like, I wanted to tell you, but I just didn't know how to tell you. And he's like, oh, come now, Hudson. I already knew you were a gargoyle. I may be blind, but I'm not stupid. He's like, late night visits, all this stuff, and then plus the accent, and plus that smell. And I remember Hudson was like, what smell? And he's like, you tell me. It smelled like bad leather and stone. Like it was really funny. But yeah, Robinson knew he was a gargoyle, but he never stopped being Hudson's friend. I thought it was a good that was a good, Hudson had some good spotlight episodes. The Gargoyles all had some good spotlight episodes. You know what else was a good episode? Everybody probably want to know another. Remember the episode where Puck made that alternate future world where Lexington turned out to be the bad guy? That was a good episode, and that was a real good episode. Um, um, I don't know if I'm gonna check out the Inhumans show. I may check it out. I don't know. Uh, I don't know. Just no, but I did promise I may watch the first episode. I don't know. I don't. I'm not sure about it. I don't know. Mm, That's not. I'm not sure. Uh, yeah, I would have loved to seen Ku Cullen come back on the show. I like when they did that episode when they were in Ireland, and we got to see Ku Cullen. I really wish they really went to, uh, you know, Finn McCool and Balor. You know, so that would have been cool too. But yeah, Ku Cullen was great. Um, I still feel all right. Look. Here's what I really wish the Humans stayed part of the MCU movie division, not TV. I felt like that should have stayed movie wise, not TV. But why? Like, I tell you why. Because once Agents of Shield entered, put Inhumans involved in it, yeah, it was like, oh, it was no brainer. They were gonna do. I still feel they could have done the royal family just movie wise. I don't know. Okay, all right. I didn't know you were Irish. Uh, well, that's great. I love the episode just for the reason of just me other mythos outside of other mythology and mythos outside of Greek mythology. You know, whether it's Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology, and Gargoyles touched on all of those mythology: African, Greek, Egyptian, South American, Native American, you name it. They touched on all that. And them going to Ireland, you got to see the Banshee. It was great. I love that. And a man realizing that he was more than just he was the ancestor of the kind of reminded me of Thor, old school Thor. He was human and he got to know what it was like to be human. And, he carried the stick like Donald Blake. And, it was good. That was a real good stuff. I really enjoyed that really much. Oh, well, Irish. Well, you're still Irish no matter what. So you're still Irish, and you may not been born in Ireland, but you're still Irish. So never forget that. Yeah, a lot of, like I said, I really wish they went with Finn McCool and the Demon King Balor. That would have been cool. If you know your Irish mythology, you know Finn McCool and Balor. Let's see what else we have here. Hey Charles. Um, so definitely, Gargoyles always touch. I wasn't I finishing talking about the Goliath Chronicles? Yeah, like I said, I didn't hate the last season of Gargoyles, the Goliath Chronicles. I just wished it felt more like the previous seasons. More they put too much stock in the quarrymen. I didn't like the quarrymen. I thought they were kind of a garbage villain in my opinion. Just they were like quote unquote the KKK, which I can give two shits about. So, I didn't care for them. And the only episode I did like, there were episodes of Goliath Chronicles I did like. The episode with Demona, where she hired that assassin who can like bend light. He can go transparent, and I thought that was really good. The episode where Goliath wished Lady Titania gave Goliath what he wanted, that he was human, and him and Lisa were married and they had kids and everything like that. That was a really good episode. The first two episodes of the first season the first episode was good, and maybe the finale. I did like that. And yeah, when Hudson was blind, those were good too. But yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Travis, you're asking me my thoughts on Princess Catherine. In the beginning, I hated her. I hated Princess Catherine. I thought she was like, I'm like, what's wrong with this? Like, why is she like this? And we saw that she hated the Gargoyles since she was a kid. She never liked them. And, her father, King Malcolm, used to tell her stories like, and you need to go to sleep or the Gargoyles will get you. And I love that where Hudson even said you shouldn't tell the child that we would never hurt a child, and things like that. But yeah, and then when she realized the errors of her ways, that's when I really started to like her. I was like, yeah, she learned, especially when she became older, and the way she carried on and cared for the gargoyle eggs. I was like, I like her now. She's really good. Um, Fun fact: their take. Oh, I just talked about their future. You never watched the Gargoyles in its entirely. Um, okay, Charles, I would say go on Amazon, punch up Gargoyles, and purchase this. This is the complete first season, and they also have the complete second season. It's broken up into two parts. They have not put the they have not put Gargoyles, the last season, because they only had 3 seasons. Just like how you finally watched the Transformers the movie, trust me, you'll enjoy Gargoyles. Uh, Audio Bridge. Which series goes best against Gar in your fantasy fights? Depends on it. Depends. Mm-hmm. Um, Not gonna. Okay. I'll answer this question, even though it doesn't deter to has anything to do with Gargoyles, but I'll answer it. Do I play Marvel Heroes Omega? You're the fifth person to ask me that, because people say you'll like it because it reminds me of Ultimate Alliance. It's free. I have to download it. I'm not sure where I'm going to download. I may download it for my PS4. I'm not sure, or I could download it for my Xbox One. I'm not sure. So I haven't played it yet. So no. Um, it depends. I don't think Watch Cartoons Online has Gargoyles. I don't think. I think they do. I'm not sure. And Daily Motion, kinda. You got to find it. Hudson was Broadway's father. Who? Wait, what? When was that announced? I don't never remember announcing that Hudson was Broadway's father. I don't remember that. I remember we found out that some of the Gargoyles turned. I mean, Broadway got together with Angela. Brooklyn did finally find a lover later on, and Lexington turned out to be gay. He was gay in the comics, and I remember people would ask me that, "How do you feel about that?" I was like, "Oh, it's okay." It was cool to see, like, even Gargoyles have, that kind of, they go between sexualities as well. So I was fine with that. Yo, to everybody like that. But Greg Weisman said it on a blog. Really? Wow. Okay. That's interesting. I never saw that. They didn't even have the same coloring. Like, usually you could tell who is related through the coloring. You know, Lisa, no, Angela had the same coloring as Goliath, but she looked a lot like Demona. Gabriel, her rookery brother, looked like Cold Stone. The and speaking of Cold Stone, nobody asked me about Cold Stone. I love the battle between Cold Stone. I thought the the building of Cold Stone was very interesting. Magic and science come together. But it was really good. And Michael Dorn voicing him, perfect. It was really good. Um, how would you do a Spider-Man Gargoyles crossover? To They actually did a Spider-Man. They had the actors from. They used to have this thing called the Gargoyle Gathering. It was like a monthly, yearly gathering. And Josh Keaton and Keith David were on stage doing a script as it was the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon meeting the Gargoyles. It was great. I think they have it on YouTube. You could check it out. It was really fun, and that was perfectly done. So check that out. Um, did you know the show Witch was sort of like a tie to Gar? I watched that show a little bit, and I never knew that was tied to Gargoyles. Um, but yeah, it was pretty good. I didn't mind it as well. Never seen it being a tie to too much. maybe the magic side of it. I don't know. Other than that, guys, I'm gonna end this. This was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did going down memory lane. Uh, oh God, yeah, that'd be cool. But that's a cool one. I'm trying, but I'm gonna end this, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming out and uh, going down memory lane. I hope you guys enjoyed me airing some of the episodes. Like I said, if I get a strike or whatever, I don't care. I'm like, yeah, it was good. Um, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys. So thank Travis and Justin and Charles and Omicron and David, especially all the guys that really got into the questions and was really doing that stuff really good. To anybody out there who was, you know, not really staying with the theme, when I do theme Q&As like this, guys, please stay with the theme. Don't go outside the theme. I haven't done a theme Q&A in a while, so it was really good to go back to doing a theme. But I will be back again next month, of course, with some more Q&As and live chats and stuff like that. Going to Comic-Con this next month again. So I will be at New York Comic-Con this year again. Taking my brother for the first time. It's going to be real fun. I will be cosplaying as Agent 47. So I got my guns. I got my black gloves. This will all get shaved off. I got the black suit, all that, and I'll be ready to go. Gail Simone is going to be there. I get to finally meet Gail Simone, one of my favorite comic writers. And I told her before on Twitter, when I meet you, we're going to be hugging. So definitely looking forward to it. I'll take pictures, guys, and maybe do some vlogs and stuff as well, as much as I can. But and I'll post it again on YouTube like I did before. But definitely you're gonna see. You guys want to see me as Agent 47? You'll see me. I'll definitely. I wanted to dress up this year for Comic-Con. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I haven't cosplayed in years. Last time I cosplayed, I was Blade, and that was for when I went to a con way back when with my cousin on 96th Street in St. Paul's Church, and I dressed up as Blade before even Blade had the movie. But yeah, definitely gonna see a vlog for me at Comic-Con this year. I'm just hope my brother's gonna go. He's this first time he's going. I want him to have a good time, like I did. But other than that, guys, thank you for watching. I'll be back again next month with some more live. We're gonna have open mic, so questions are gonna be out the woodwork. Check out. I just uploaded some more reactions. I just reacted to the second trailer for Red Dead Redemption 2. Go check that out. Of course, I reacted to some more Teens Know It. That was fun. You got to see Hurricane come out again, and he was talking. He now can project his thoughts, guys. So you get to hear what this guy is saying now. It's kind of scary. And one day, in one video, he actually took over the body. I let him take it over, and he nearly went old Negan on and warned the kids if they fuck it up again with these getting the names wrong, then he's gonna bust my walls or something with the bat. That's not gonna happen. I'm still the dominant personality, so he can't do that. I won't let it happen. But other than that, guys, you guys take care. As always, this is my Vernon Kid. I'm the Geek High Lord of New York, bidding all me fellow High Lords and ladies farewell. I'll see you guys next time. Deuces. I'm out. Y'all have a good weekend.